What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Fidens Brewing Company, and they're out of Albany, New York, and this is their Hidden Beneath the Fog. So this is an IPA that comes in at 7.3% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, time of review, and this can is approximately 3 months old. I want to give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and owner of the Brewed and Bottled craft beer shop in Lewiston, New York, Chris, for this beer. I hung out there recently about, I want to say it was almost a month ago, and I brought Chris some goodies. We shared some beers, and he sent me home with 3 different Fidens beers. The other 2 I've already reviewed on the channel, so I'm just enjoying them off camera. However, I've never reviewed this one. Now, when he gave them to me, they were all within like a month and a half to 2 months old. However, if you've been following the channel, I had a bad cold/flu/upper respiratory infection that took me out of commission for a couple weeks, so I didn't get to this one as soon as I would have liked. However, I always say on my channel that sometimes, the age of hop forward beers can be a bit overblown. I've had 3 or 4 or 5 or sometimes even 6-month-old hoppy beers that have been absolutely delicious from the likes of Other Half and Hop Butcher and even Fidens. So this will be a good test or example. Is this still a really good beer at 3 months old, or should I drink it when he gave it to me, or should I have had it, 2.5 months ago? Obviously, fresher the better for the most part. However, I'm curious to see if this one held up. The hops in this one they're using are Citra, Egger Special, Nelson Sauvin, and Nelson Sauvin Hop Kief. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, so we will see what this one is all about. I didn't know much about Egger Special. I've seen it, mentioned before by, different breweries when they brew with it. It's basically like a steroided up version of Rawaka, which I'm all about. Give me some Rawaka. Hashtag proper glassware. Let's give it a pour here. It's looking like that. Oh, Fidens juice. That's all right. Maybe this isn't the greatest idea because that did not pour out all that well. Holy shit. I mean, I was a little aggressive, but that aggressive, I don't know. So, hey, this was kept cold the entire time that Chris got it because it was in his cooler at the store. And then for me, I put it right into my my darker beer, not darker beer fridge, my regular beer fridge that I keep cold for like hop forward beers, lagers, and whatnot. So how does this beer look? It looks absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Look at that pour. 75 fingers. It's literally 4 fingers of head. Has this beautiful off-white head that's super creamy. Even though that is a lot of head there, it looks insanely creamy. Like insanely creamy. Some slighter, bigger bubbles towards the top, but outside it. Now the base beer itself, we'll do a little bit of a, take away the hashtag proper glassware. Yeah, I mean, what you're seeing without the light is kind of what I'm seeing. It has this beautiful like hazy yellow-orange color. Kind of looks like you'd expect a lot of these new school hazies to look, and murky turbid, the whole 9. But yeah, so that, unfortunately, that head's not going anywhere. Let's see if I can smell anything. Yeah, I can. Holy shit, what the fuck? Pineapple, like over-ripened, sweet, almost slightly candied pineapple. That typical Nelson, like white grape, like it's like a sweet, crisp white grape nose, like you almost just bit into a white grape. Tons of passion fruit. But this nose for 3 months old is fucking bonkers. But excuse me, let me be honest with you. It smells like it has hop burn right now. 3 months old. I'm not saying it's going to when I taste it, but it smells, it has that, I don't know, hop burn, that green astringency. I can smell it most of the time, and usually it carries over. This smells like it has a moderate hop burn kind of presence. But it's dank, it's herbaceous, it has that green like tomato stalk thing going on. Yeah, passion fruit, guava. Very big on the tropical fruits. A nice like ruby red grapefruit. Man. Dude, this smells fucking great. All right, let me see if I can pour a little bit more in here without getting crazy with the head. I think that's a little bit better. Don't worry, I wash all my cans before I review them and bottles. Yeah, am I weird? That's right. Now, how does it look? Still like a fucking idiot poured it because he did. But in the hashtag proper glassware, I still think it looks pretty nice. Anyway, let's get into it. Thanks again, Chris. Cheers, everyone. We're going to have to fight through this fucking 4-finger head. That's really good still. Wow. It's like carbonated fruit juice. I do think maybe one of the things that has been lost with age, again, never had this fresh, never had this ever, it doesn't have much bitterness or dryness. It's just like straight on like sweet, juicy, vibrant, tropical juice. That's what it tastes like carbonated tropical juice. Body on this one is 7.3%, and a lot of Fidens beers and a lot of these new aged hazies and New England style IPAs and doubles and triples, they usually are big, viscous, just meaty beers when it comes to the body. This, however, is more like, I'd say like higher side of medium. I'd say more probably lower side of full. So there's still a heft here at 7.3%. However, it's not over the top, which I prefer for something like this. I don't want it to be thick and bogging down the palate. So I like the higher side of medium, lower side of full kind of body. The mouthfeel is luscious. It's mild to moderately carbonated, so it definitely has carbonation, but somehow it remains a little bit softer than anticipated, smooth on the second half of the palate, and creamy throughout. So the mouthfeel is spectacular. The body's really nice. The taste, let me go back in. Because what I said about like the lack of bitterness is true here. It doesn't have a big bitter kick. It's like mildly dry. But it's fucking delicious. Like if you are somebody who is a haze bro, you're somebody who loves the fruity, juicy, over the top, Fidens-esque type of hazies, I can see why you'd love this one. It really doesn't hit me in stages. It's really front to back. It's a mixture of a bunch of different tropical fruits. It's pineapple, it's passion fruit, maybe a bit of like lychee and guava. It definitely has that white grape, that like crisp white grape kind of feeling to it. Underlying ruby red grapefruit. But that's, again, front to back, omnipresent, all blending together, beautiful cohesiveness. There's a beautiful cohesiveness to the tropical and like citrus fruits. There's not as many stone fruits in this one. Has a little bit of that like herbaceous dankness on the finish, that tomato stock green kind of quality. Again, the only thing really missing from this beer is like a mild to moderate bitterness and like a dry finish. If this was firmly dry, this would be fucking amazing. And guess what? That's probably what 3 months has done to it. Maybe drinking this, 3 weeks old or a month old might get that, a little bit of that bitterness, a nice dryness. But as this is aged, I'd imagine that's kind of, went to the wayside, and now you just get that sweet, fruity kind. Again, if you love hazies because they're fruity, they're juicy, they don't have much bitterness, this is fucking for you. This would be like a 5 out of 5. I don't see how it wouldn't be. It's absolutely delightful. Here's the best way for me to explain it. It's delightful from an aspect of this definitely has a beautiful flavor to it, right? A complex, fruity, beautiful flavor. It's just, for me, I need some more balance. If I drank this 3 or 4 years ago, I'd probably lose my shit right now. Now, how does it look? That looks like a proper and very, very proper hazy IPA. Actually, it looks a little bit darker on camera. In person, it doesn't have that. Like on camera, it almost looks oxidized. It's definitely not oxidized. In person, it just has that more of like that darker orange color, but it's not oxidized whatsoever. And the taste would indicate it's not oxidized. One more taste. I'm going to give this a pretty good score because I can tell you how good this beer probably would have been fresh if it had a little bit more bitterness, a little bit more dryness, because the flavors on here are still popping at 3 months old, which is amazing. But I'm going to have to give it an appropriate score based on what I am tasting, but I still think I'm going to get a really good score. So, Hidden Beneath the Fog, IPA from Fidens, I'm going to give this a high 4.25. I'm going to go 4.3, and that's really based on 3 things: body, mouthfeel, and that the actual flavor is fantastic. The reason why it's not getting higher is because that lack of bitterness and dryness. You could tell it lost a little bit of something, but I still think this is absolutely awesome. It's really, really tasty. So yeah, 4.3 out of 5. Delicious. 3 months old. Don't be afraid to drink 3-month-old hazy IPAs. Sometimes they might be trash. They might, have definitely passed their prime and you don't want to drink them. but sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised. I've had Hop Butcher and Other Half beers 6 months old that still are absolutely fantastic. And it's not every Hop Butcher and Other Half beer, but some of them. And this is a beer that I think even a month or two from now will probably have a great flavor. It's just going to become a little bit too sweet, a little bit too cloying. There is no malt character, like there's no malt creep in this where it's like, big like vanilla and like just, bready or biscuity or anything like that. For me, it's just tropical fruit juice with a little bit of citrus juice, somewhat carbonated, but it just doesn't have enough to round it out to be a top tier amazing beer. But a 4.3 out of 5 for a 3-month-old hazy IPA, I think that's a great fucking rating. And it's still tasty, and I'm gonna drink that off camera, no doubts. Anyway, price point availability, I don't know exactly. It was given to me. I looked on their website to kind of like do a comparison to other beers. I would say this is probably anywhere between $20 to $22 a 4-pack. It is double dry hops, so they're brewing it and double dry hopping it with those hops. So $20 to $22 a 4-pack. I think if it was fresh, easily would pay that. Now at Fidens, you have to buy 4-packs. There's no more singles, which is a bummer. I think the only thing that comes in singles is like the when they do like a big like barrel aged or like big pastry styles, things like that. But if you buy the hazies, they come with 4-packs, no more singles, which is unfortunate. That really does suck, but is what it is. And availability, it's Fidens. You got to go to Fidens to pick them up. You might see drips or drabs of Fidens stuff in certain areas across like the, I would say more of like the Mid-Atlantic, maybe Northeast. We've gotten some slight drops here, but usually, what the hell's wrong with that car? I don't know if that picked up on camera, on the mic. There would be bottle shops here that would go to Fidens, bring back stuff. So if you have a bottle shop that can do that, you might see them. Otherwise, you got to go to Fidens and pick them up. So, or trade for them, obviously, or buy them on the secondary. But anyway, for a 3-month-old hazy IPA for Fidens, really good job. It's held up well, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of it. So if you've had this one before, whether it's fresh or it's aged, whatever the case may be, let me know what you think about it. I'm going to go drink the rest of this one off camera, 7.3%. Slight warming in my chest, nothing on the palate, so pretty damn good overall. So I'm shutting this one down. Appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers.